Hello, delegates, esteemed sponsors, and friends. McMUNC this year has been a roller coaster, to say the least. After planning for an in-person conference since the end of the last school year and shifting our plans to a 100% virtual format, to working around the clock to ensure that each committee was staffed, chaired, and even czarred sufficiently, all in the midst of Kyla's garage, we definitely had our work set out for us while learning to navigate this vastly different and unknown virtual environment, and we are so extremely grateful for the patience of all attendees. The Secretariat has spent countless sleepless nights, over Zoom of course, eagerly planning the best course of action for this year's iteration of McMUNC, and we are so immensely proud and gratified that it was as successful as it was this past weekend. As a freshman, I had always admired the leadership of the McMUNC Secretariat and their ability to successfully execute the feat of organizing a Model United Nations conference for hundreds of students. I knew I wanted to be involved in the process at the start, and today, as a senior, I can look back and say that serving on the McMUNC Secretariat these past 2 years has been one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life thus far. I hope you all listened to the prior sentiments of the Secretariat and were able to get something positive out of this experience, despite any problems that may have come up due to the virtual format. I'd like to truly thank you all for taking part in this experience. It means so much to me and the rest of the Secretariat. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Director of Technology, Zayon Baig, for the moment you have all been waiting for, awards. Congratulations to every delegate who demonstrated McMUNC's core values of diplomacy and leadership.
Hi everyone, I'm Zayon Baig, the Director of Technology for McMUNC VI, and I will now be presenting the delegation awards for this weekend's conference. We will begin with middle school committees. First, we have the World Health Organization, chaired by Yanni. Verbal commendation goes to China. Honorable mentions go to Morocco and the United Kingdom. Outstanding delegation goes to Australia. And best delegation goes to Belarus. Next, we have SpecPol, chaired by Odessa. Verbal commendation goes to Brazil. Honorable mention goes to Japan. Outstanding delegation goes to the United Kingdom. And best delegation goes to the United States of America. Next, we have the TikTok Board of Directors, chaired by Ben. Honorable mention goes to General Counsel. Outstanding delegation goes to the Director of Expansion. And best delegation goes to the Director of Tech Development. Next, we have the 12 districts, chaired by Chloe and czarred by Vidya. Verbal commendation goes to Joanna Mason. Honorable mention goes to Dr. Aurelius. Outstanding delegation goes to Hamish Abernathy. And best delegation goes to Gail Hawthorne. We will now be moving to the high school general assemblies, beginning with UNIDO, chaired by Lana Al-Saloom and Sarah Gu, also vice-chaired by Alina and Sherry. Verbal commendations go to Egypt, Ireland, and Libya. Honorable mentions go to Poland, Turkey, and Italy. Outstanding delegation goes to Finland. And best delegation goes to the United Arab Emirates. Next, we have Interpol, chaired by Thomas and Brittany. Verbal commendations go to Poland, Argentina, Mexico, and Italy. Honorable mentions go to the United States, El Salvador, and Fiji. Outstanding delegations go to the Russian Federation and the United Arab Emirates. And best delegation goes to Switzerland. Next, we have UNHCR, chaired by Neha and Fatima, and vice-chaired by Layla and Eamon. Verbal commendations go to Russia and Switzerland. Honorable mention goes to Italy. Outstanding delegation goes to Belgium. And best delegation goes to the United States of America. Next, we have UNESCO, chaired by Zoe and Laith, and co-chaired by Julia. Verbal commendations, we have Ireland, Algeria, and Norway. Honorable mentions, we have Honduras and Nigeria. Outstanding delegations, we have Poland and Switzerland. And best delegation, we have France. Next, we are moving into the high school specialized agencies, beginning with the Asia Cooperation Dialogue, chaired by Nicholas Lohman and co-chaired by Michelle. Verbal commendations go to Kazakhstan and Iran. Honorable mention goes to Thailand. Outstanding delegation goes to Indonesia. And best delegation goes to India. Next, we are moving into ECOSOC, chaired by Shivani and co-chaired by Haran. Verbal commendations go to Ecuador and Panama. Honorable mention goes to Australia. Outstanding delegations go to China and France. And best delegation goes to the United States of America. Next, we have the Federal Reserve, chaired by Jacob and Eve. Verbal commendations go to Brian Madigan and Eric Rosengren. Honorable mentions go to David E. Alty and Ben Bernanke. Outstanding delegation goes to Elizabeth A. Duke. And best delegation goes to Richard W. Fisher. Next, we have the Sinaloa Cartel, chaired by Cynthia and Arvin. Verbal commendations go to Inez Cornal Barreras and Jesus El Muñeco Alfredo Salazar Ramirez. Honorable mention goes to Rafael Caro Quintero. Outstanding delegation goes to Ovidio Guzman Lopez. And best delegation goes to Ivan El Chapito Archivaldo Guzman Salazar. I apologize if I mispronounce any of those names. Now we will be moving into the high school crisis simulations. First, we have the expansion of the Han Dynasty, chaired by Akshita and czarred by Isaac, as well as vice-chaired by Christina and vice-czarred by Michelle. Verbal commendation, we have Minister Stewart. Honorable mention, we have Minister of Finances. Outstanding delegation, we have Grand Commandant. And best delegation, we have the Imperial Counselor. Now we're moving into the Enron Board of Directors, chaired by Sophie Howery and Louisa Keshmoon. Verbal commendation goes to Robert Belfer. Honorable mention goes to Wendy Graham. Outstanding delegation goes to Kenneth Lay. And best delegation goes to Charles Lemaster. Next, we have the Manhattan Project, vice-chaired by Richard Howe and czarred by Shahamat Chaudhry, as well as Jung-Hwa Kim. Verbal commendation goes to Ernest O. Lawrence. Honorable mention goes to James Marshall. Outstanding delegation goes to General Leslie R. Groves. And best delegation goes to Edward Teller. Next, we have the 1953 Iranian coup d'etat, chaired by Sophia Powell, as well as czarred by Leah Siegel. Verbal commendation goes to John Sinclair. Honorable mention goes to Kermit Roosevelt Jr. Outstanding delegation goes to Walter Bedell Smith. And best delegation goes to Alan Dulles. Next, we have the JCC, meeting of the Chinese Tech Corporations, vice-chaired by Emma Hu, and czarred by Alex Kim and Kavya Vij, and vice-czarred by Sehi Perez. Verbal commendation goes to Tencent Holdings. Honorable mention goes to, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Xiaomi. Outstanding delegation goes to Huawei. Once again, forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. And best delegation goes to ZTE Corporation. Next, we have the Joint Crisis Committee again, the meeting of the U.S. tech giants, vice-chaired by Tala Malwaki, and czarred by Alex Kim and Kavya Vij, and co-chaired by Sehi Perez. And I also believe this committee was chaired by Kai Nguyen. Verbal commendation goes to AT&T. Honorable mention goes to Adobe. Outstanding delegation goes to Alphabet. And best delegation goes to Oracle. Next and finally, we have the council, chaired by Alex Bruner, as well as Tashi Gyatso, and czarred by Jake Shu. Verbal commendation goes to Steve Bullock. And verbal commendation goes to Steve Bullock and Joe Manchin. Honorable mention goes to Sherrod Brown. Outstanding delegation goes to Hyman Roth. And best delegation goes to Janet Yellen.
Hi all, last but not least, we have our school delegation awards.
Our best middle school goes to Longfellow Middle School.
Our best small delegation goes to Yorktown High School.
Our outstanding large delegation goes to Langley High School.
Our best large delegation goes to TJ High School for Science and Technology. Thank you guys.
Hi everyone. If you don't remember me, my name is Kyla Dougal, and I've had the honor of serving as McMUNC VI's Secretary General this weekend. Planning McMUNC VI this year was a whirlwind, and I'm so grateful that we were able to make it happen. Last May, I never expected that I would be running virtual McMUNC from my garage. Yet, here we are, working to make the best of our situation. McMUNC has been incredibly important to me throughout these past years, and I cannot believe that this will be my last year of planning McMUNC. I want to take a few moments to thank those who have made McMUNC VI possible. To our college chairs and czars, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to help us staff McMUNC. To our McLean co-chairs and czars, thank you for the weeks that you have spent preparing ARCs and background guides. McMUNC VI would not be what it is without you guys. To our volunteers, thank you for helping to make McMUNC VI run as smoothly as possible. We really appreciate it. To our sponsor, Ms. Chatha, thank you for the countless hours you have spent working on McMUNC. It would not have been possible without you, and we are eternally grateful for your dedication to McMUNC. To my secretariat, you guys are so great. Thank you for all the effort that you have put in, the countless hours that you have worked, and all my to-do lists that you have put up with. Lastly, to all of our delegates, thank you for your patience and understanding throughout the weekend. In terms of receiving awards, I will be reaching out to sponsors and head delegates about the distribution of awards this evening. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all for attending, staffing, and supporting McMUNC VI this year. I hope you all had a great weekend. With that, by the power vested in me by the McMUNC VI Secretariat, I hereby declare McMUNC VI closed.